Oh, yes. Okay, so we're going live. Seventh level, Jesus Christ. Seventh level, Jesus Christ. Wake up, I'll give you communion. Wake up, I'll give you communion. 8 years ago. Um, and persecuted priests. St. Joan. Pray for persecuted priests. Oh, and Gregory came through the TV while I was napping with him. He's very nice. In a dream. In a dream. But I had the friars on during Holy Mass while I was dreaming. So. St. Joan, who told the truth about her voices, uh, gets burned at the stake after she accomplishes what her voices said she would accomplish. And persecution's real, and movies have done so many movies about Joan of Arc. Uh, There's been like one every 3 years since the 70s, but it was mostly to train people in because she had to dress up as a soldier and cut all her hair off and not be a girl. So to train trannies, basically. Nothing to do with a real saint. Why I picked her for sainthood. I love little girls, 1968. And I did, and then that became my confirmation name. Of Orleans, maybe, Orleans, St. Joan of Arc, St. Joan of Orleans. Well, and probably because in 1968 there was a movie. So it's the only saying I knew her. So it's probably a movie. Joan's first official act was to just dictate a letter. Dictate a letter to the English commanders at Orleans, summoning them to deliver up all strongholds in their possession and depart out of France. She must have been thinking it all out before and arranging it in her mind. It flowed from her lips so smoothly and framed itself into such vivacious and forcible language. Still, it might not have been so. She always had a quick mind and a capable tongue, and her faculties were constantly developing in the latter weeks. This letter was to be forwarded presently from Bla Men Provision. From Bla Men Provisions. Where did you go? Forward presently from Bla. Oh, I see. Period. There's a period. I couldn't say. Don't forget to there's a period. My grammar has become so bad because of social media and texting. I have no grammar skills. So it's already getting bad because of commentary on YouTube videos. I'm not going to use any punctuation. It just didn't bode well. Men, provision and money were offering in plenty now, and Joan appointed Bla as a recruiting station and depot of supplies and ordered up La Height from the front to take charge. The great bastard, him of the ducal house and governor of Orleans, had been clamoring for weeks for Joan to be sent to him, and now came another message. Old Dolan, a veteran officer, a trusty man, and fine and honest. The king kept him and gave him to Joan to be chief of her household, and commanded her to appoint the rest of her people herself, making their number and dignity accord with the greatness of her office. And at the same time he gave orders they should be properly equipped with arms, clothing, and horses. Meantime, the king was having a complete suit of armor made for her at Tours. It was of the finer steel, heavily plated with silver, richly ornamented with engraved designs, and polished like a mirror. Joan's voices had told her that there was an ancient sword hidden somewhere behind the altar of St. Catherine's at Blois, and she sent Demetz to get it. The priest knew of no such sword, but a search was made, and sure enough it was found in that place, buried a little way under the ground. It had no sheath and was very rusty, but the priest polished it up and sent it to Tours, whither we were now to come. They also had a sheet of crimson velvet made for it, and the people of Tours equipped it with another one made of cloth of gold. But Joan meant to carry his sword always in battle, so she laid the showy sheaths away and got one made of leather. It was generally believed that this sword had belonged to Charlemagne, but that was only a matter of opinion. I wanted to sharpen that old blade, but she said it was not necessary, as she should never kill anybody and should carry it only as a symbol of authority, of God's authority. And once again, she showed her where the sword wasn't a magical sword. It was not used in battle. At Tours, she designed her standard, and a Scotch painter named James Powers made it. It was of the most delicate white boccasin with fringes of silver. For a device is bore the image of God the Father, throned in the clouds and holding the world in his hand. Two angels knelt at his feet, presenting lily inscriptions. Jesus Maria on the reverse, the crown of France supported by two angels. She also caused a smaller standard or pennon to be made, wherein was represented an angel offering the lily to the Holy Virgin. Everything was humming there at Tours. Every now and then one heard the bray and crash of military music. Every little while one heard the measured tramp of marching men, squads of recruits leaving for Blau, Blois. Blau. Songs and shoutings and huzzas filled the air night and day. The town was full of strangers. The streets and inns were thronged. The bustle of preparation was everywhere, and everybody carried a glad and cheerful face. Around Joan's headquarters, a crowd of people was always massed, hoping for a glimpse of the new general, and when they got it, they went wild. But they seldom got it, for she was busy planning her campaign, receiving reports, giving orders, dispatch couriers, and giving what odd moments she could spare to the companies of great folk waiting in the drawing rooms. As for us boys, we hardly saw her at all, she was so occupied. We were in a mixed state of mind, sometimes hopeful, sometimes not, mostly not. She had not appointed her household yet. This was our trouble. We knew she was being overrun with applications for places in it, and that these applications were backed by great names and weighty influence, whereas we had nothing of the sort to recommend us. She could fill her humble places with titled folk whose relationships would be a bulwark for her and a valuable support at all times. In these circumstances, would policy allow her to consider us? We were not as cheerful as the rest of the town, but were inclined to be depressed and worried. Sometimes we discussed our slim chances and gave them as good an appearance as we could. But the very mention of the subject was anguish to the paladin, for whereas we had some little hope, he had none at all. As a rule, Noel Ragusan was quite willing to let the dismal matter alone, but not when the paladin was present. Once we were talking the thing over when Noel said, 9/11.